Alrighty, guys. So today I'm going to be talking about Don't Starve and Don't Starve Together, which one you should buy if you're thinking about just getting one. Right now, they're on a super sale because of the summer sale, and they're one of the special ones that are just really cheap. So here you can see that Don't Starve Together is $5, and it's actually 2 copies. That should be noted. So if you want to send a copy over to your friend after buying this, you can go ahead and do that. No big deal. And then you can play with that friend, and they don't even have to buy the game then. So, I mean, you're getting 2 game copies for $5 there, pretty cheap. Then you also have Don't Starve, which is actually $2.49, so it's actually a little bit cheaper. But the thing is with regular Don't Starve is, first off, it hasn't been updated in a while except for the DLCs. So if you're going to play regular Don't Starve, you really want to have the DLCs, including Hamlet and Shipwrecked. So it can get pretty expensive. And then also, you got to keep in mind with this that you can't play with other people with a regular Don't Starve, so it just doesn't work as together. Now, I will say that Don't Starve Together really should just be called like Don't Starve 2 because they're very, very different games. First off, Don't Starve Together, it has more bosses, like a lot more bosses, and it has raid bosses, so it really has some endgame content, whereas normal Don't Starve does not really have endgame content. The endgame content is like building a huge base, which I find extremely boring, but some people find that fun. Now, there is a lot more content in Don't Starve, though, if you do have the DLCs. There's just a lot more to go through. You have all of Hamlet, all of Shipwrecked, and then you also have your base game to go through. Now, I will also say, for those of you who've played Don't Starve Together and are thinking about getting Don't Starve, keep in mind that the game is very, very different and that the mechanics just do not work the same. Things like thermal stones conflicting with winter clothing, you can't cancel attacks. Enemies just have way less health, so you're just going to roll everything. The characters are basically all different, so very few of them are actually the same. They've mostly been changed. So there's quite a few differences there. Now, what would I recommend you buy? Now, I already gave you the info here, so you may think something else, but I would recommend that you buy Don't Starve Together. Now, keep in mind here that Don't Starve Together also does not run too well. So if you're on a computer with like 4 gigs of RAM and you want to host your own server for this, it's not going to happen because with the way Don't Starve Together is set up, it forces you to host 2 servers at a time if you want to have the caves on. And with a computer with like 4 gigs of RAM or 6 gigs of RAM, you're going to have a bad time. But if you have a better computer here, or you have a friend who has a better computer here, and they can host, Don't Starve Together, I would say, is generally your better bet because, first off, it's just better bang for the buck. You're getting more content for less money. And second off, there's more endgame content to it, so you won't get bored as fast as you would with regular Don't Starve because you can go ahead and you can fight the endgame bosses. Like, you can go ahead and fight Dragonfly, you can go ahead and you can fight the Ancient Fuel Weaver eventually. There's just a lot more things that they do there. And then also, they've been updating Don't Starve Together, and they really haven't been updating regular Don't Starve at all. I mean, that's why I'm kind of saying Don't Starve Together is Don't Starve 2. The only way they really update Don't Starve is by small changes to the DLCs or like fixing bugs on it. I mean, not really updates. Meanwhile, they've been adding content to Don't Starve Together. Most of it's been useless recently, but they've been adding content, and hopefully they'll make some of it useful eventually here. And you can see down here that what it says for the minimum, this is, if you're hosting your own server, this is actually just so BS. I mean, you cannot host your own server if you only have a gig of RAM. That's, yeah, maybe if you join someone else's server, that's what it's going off of. But if you want to host your own, I'd recommend at least 8 gigs, and you're going to want an SSD if you're playing this because otherwise it's going to take you like a minute and a half to go between the caves and the surface. So that's really your big upside for Don't Starve versus Don't Starve Together is that it runs better. So if you think it running better is really important, then go ahead and get Don't Starve. If you have a decent computer or you know someone who has a decent computer and can host and you're going to give them a copy, I mean, Don't Starve Together has a bit more content for the buck. With that said, if you like this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, especially if you want to see some Don't Starve Together content. I put out a lot of Don't Starve Together content, so if you're just buying the game, this is the place to be. Bye-bye.